Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that determines the trajectory of your life more than almost anything else, the people around you. You see, we often assume that everyone we encounter plays an equal role in our lives, but that's far from the truth. There are only 3 types of people you will ever deal with, and recognizing them can be the difference between success and failure, joy and suffering, growth and stagnation. These 3 types are those who lift you up, those who pull you down, and those who pass you by. And if you don't learn to discern who's who, you might just find yourself trapped in relationships that rob you of your potential. These are the rare individuals who see your potential before you even realize it yourself. They are the mentors, the friends, the coaches, the loved ones who push you toward greatness when you feel like giving up. Their presence in your life is like oxygen. They give you room to breathe, to expand, to become something far greater than you could have on your own. Imagine you're in a dark tunnel. You don't know where you're going, and you're stumbling forward blindly. Then suddenly someone hands you a flashlight. That's what an uplifter does. They illuminate the path ahead, even when you can't see it yourself. Think about Michael Jordan and his coach Phil Jackson. Jordan had the raw talent, the drive, the ambition, but it was Jackson who refined it, who pushed him beyond what he thought was possible, who guided him to multiple championships. Without that guiding force, Jordan might have still been great, but would he have become legendary? Probably not. And this doesn't just apply to careers or success, it applies to every aspect of life. Maybe you have a friend who pushes you to become healthier, to eat better, to exercise. Maybe you have a spouse who sees your brilliance when you're doubting yourself, who encourages you to chase your dreams instead of settling for mediocrity. Uplifters don't just motivate you, they hold you accountable. They won't allow you to settle for less than what you're capable of. They tell you the truth even when it's uncomfortable. They push you to become a better version of yourself because they know you can be. But here's the thing, uplifters are rare. They're not just your everyday acquaintances. They are people you might meet once in a lifetime. So when you find them, you have to protect those relationships. They are worth their weight in gold. The problem is too many people fail to recognize uplifters in their lives. They take their encouragement for granted. They ignore their advice, assuming they have all the time in the world to listen later. And then one day they realize they've lost that source of wisdom and they are left wandering in the dark once again. So ask yourself, who are the uplifters in your life? Have you expressed gratitude for them? Have you truly listened to their wisdom? Because if you haven't, you might be pushing away the very people who could change your life for the better. On the other side of the spectrum, we have an entirely different kind of person, the kind that does the opposite. If uplifters push you toward greatness, drainers are the ones pulling you down into the abyss of mediocrity and self-doubt. They are the ones who sabotage your ambitions, not necessarily through direct opposition, but through subtle discouragement, passive-aggressive comments, or even outright negativity. Think about a person who always has something negative to say about your goals. You tell them you want to start a business, and they say, "That's risky. What if you fail?" You tell them you want to improve yourself, and they scoff. "Why bother? People don't change." These people operate under the guise of realism, when in reality they are simply projecting their own fears and insecurities onto you. They haven't achieved what they wanted in life, and instead of facing that painful reality, they discourage others from reaching for more. Take a moment and reflect. Who in your life constantly drains your energy? Who leaves you feeling exhausted, demotivated, or doubtful after spending time with them? Sometimes these people are close friends or even family members, which makes it even harder to cut ties. You feel guilty for creating distance, afraid that you might be overreacting. But let me be clear, allowing someone to drain you is a choice. And if you continue to allow it, you are making that choice every single day. A perfect example of this is in professional sports. Look at any top-tier athlete. They don't just train with anyone. They carefully select their coaches, trainers, and teammates. They eliminate negativity from their circles. because they know that even a small dose of doubt can be the difference between winning and losing. Imagine if someone like Elon Musk had surrounded himself with drainers instead of visionaries. What if, when he first came up with the idea for SpaceX, his inner circle was filled with people who told him, "That's impossible. Private companies don't launch rockets. Stick to cars." Would he have still pushed forward? Maybe, but it would have been significantly harder. This is the reality. Your environment shapes your success. If you are constantly surrounded by people who drain you, your energy, your passion, and your drive will slowly wither away. And let's be honest, drainers don't just exist in your personal relationships. They are in your workplace, in your social circles, even in the media you consume. If you're constantly feeding your mind with negativity, fear, and doubt, you are essentially allowing yourself to be drained even when no one is physically present. So what's the solution? First, identify the drainers in your life. Make a list if you have to. Then establish boundaries. That doesn't always mean cutting people off entirely. It means limiting your exposure to their negativity. If you have a toxic friend, see them less. If your workplace is full of negativity, start planning your exit strategy. If your social media feed is full of doom and gloom, unfollow the sources of that negativity. Because the hard truth is this: no one is obligated to tolerate negativity. It is not a sign of strength to endure toxic relationships. It is a sign of weakness to allow them to continue unchecked. There's a saying that goes, if you hang around 5 rich people, you'll be the 6th. If you hang around 5 broke people, you'll be the 6th. The same applies to mindset, motivation, and success. If you are surrounded by uplifters, you will rise. If you are surrounded by drainers, you will sink. And the worst part, the decline is often so slow, so subtle, that you don't even realize it's happening until one day you wake up and wonder where all your motivation went, where all your confidence disappeared to, why your dreams now feel so far away. This is the danger of the drainer. Not that they destroy you overnight, but that they wear you down slowly, piece by piece, until there's nothing left. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay. Some people come for a season, play a role, and then disappear. These are the passers-by, individuals who cross your path, leave an impact, and then move on. They are not necessarily good or bad, but they are temporary. Think about the teachers you had in school. Most of them probably don't remember you, and you may not even remember their names. But 1 or 2 might have said something, taught you something, or encouraged you in a way that changed the course of your life. Maybe they recognized your talent for writing or math or sports. Maybe they saw potential in you that no one else did. One powerful example of this is Oprah Winfrey's childhood teacher, Mrs. Duncan. As a young girl growing up in poverty, Oprah didn't have many people who encouraged her, but Mrs. Duncan did. She nurtured Oprah's love of reading and public speaking, making her feel special and capable. Decades later, Oprah still credits that teacher as a major influence in her success. Now here's the challenge. Most people don't recognize the importance of passers-by until they're gone. We assume that the people who shape us will always be around, so we fail to appreciate their influence in the moment. This also applies to mentors, bosses, and even strangers. Sometimes a single conversation with the right person can completely change your perspective. A book recommendation, a piece of advice, or even a casual remark can set you on a new path. For example, imagine you're sitting in a cafe and you overhear a conversation between 2 entrepreneurs. They talk about how they took a risk, how they left their 9-to-5 jobs to start something new. Maybe this conversation plants a seed in your mind. Maybe it gives you the courage to make a similar leap one day. That's the power of passers-by. But here's the thing, you have to be open to their influence. If you move through life with your head down, too distracted by your phone or your own problems, you'll miss these moments. You'll miss the wisdom that's right in front of you. That's why it's crucial to pay attention to the people you meet, even if they only stay for a moment. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this person? What lesson are they here to teach me? How can I apply this wisdom to my life? Because whether you recognize it or not, passers-by are shaping you every single day. The question is, are you paying attention? There's a saying that goes, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And it's absolutely true. The people you surround yourself with will either elevate you or drag you down. Think about your 5 closest friends. Do they challenge you? Do they push you to be better? Or do they encourage laziness, bad habits, and excuses? Because here's the truth. You will never outperform the expectations of your environment. If you're surrounded by ambitious, disciplined, and hardworking people, you will naturally adopt those qualities. If you're surrounded by negativity, self-doubt, and complacency, you'll absorb that too. A fascinating example of this comes from studies on obesity. Research has found that if your closest friends are overweight, your chances of becoming overweight increase dramatically. Why? Because environment matters. If everyone around you normalizes unhealthy eating and a sedentary lifestyle, it becomes much harder to break free from those patterns. The same applies to financial success. If you spend time with people who are always complaining about being broke but never take action to change their circumstances, that mindset will rub off on you. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with entrepreneurs, investors, and ambitious individuals, their habits and thinking patterns will start to influence you in a positive way. Just look at Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, one of the most successful business partnerships in history. Buffett was already a skilled investor, but it was Munger's influence that sharpened his decision-making. Their combined wisdom has resulted in one of the most profitable investment firms of all time. That's what happens when you build a circle of excellence. But here's where most people go wrong. They don't choose their circle intentionally. They keep people around out of habit, comfort, or guilt. They stay in toxic friendships because they're afraid of being alone. They tolerate negativity because it feels familiar, and then they wonder why they're stuck. If you want to transform your life, you must take a hard look at your circle. Ask yourself, are the people around me helping me grow or holding me back? Do my closest friends reflect the kind of person I want to become? If I met these people today for the first time, would I still choose to be close to them? If the answer to those questions makes you uncomfortable, that's a sign that something needs to change. Because the reality is, you don't just attract the people in your life, you also allow them. You set the standard for what kind of relationships you accept. And if your current circle is dragging you down, it's up to you to level. Now, this doesn't mean cutting people off coldly or without reason, but it does mean reevaluating who has access to your time and energy. You have a limited amount of both, and the more you spend on the wrong people, the less you have for the right ones. A simple way to do this is by categorizing your relationships into 3 groups. People who inspire you, these are the uplifters, the ones who challenge you to grow. People who neutralize you, they're not toxic, but they're not pushing you forward either. People who drain you, these are the ones keeping you stuck. Your goal should be to spend more time with the first group, maintain distance with the second, and minimize exposure to the third. Because whether you realize it or not, your circle is shaping your future every single day. The only question is, are they shaping you for success or failure? There's a category of people in your life who don't just drain you, they actively work against you. But here's the catch. They don't do it in obvious ways. They don't scream at you, openly insult you, or physically hold you back. No, they are far more insidious. They sabotage you quietly, subtly, and manipulatively. These are the underminers, the people who smile to your face but secretly resent your progress. They disguise their discouragement as concern. They make snide comments masked as jokes. They offer backhanded compliments that leave you doubting yourself. For example, you tell them you just got a promotion, and instead of celebrating with you, they say something like, "Must be nice to be the boss's favorite." Or you start going to the gym consistently, and they respond with, "You're getting obsessed. Are you sure you're not overdoing it? Do you see what's happening?" They plant seeds of doubt. They make you second guess yourself. One of the most famous examples of this is Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. When Tesla, a brilliant inventor, worked for Edison, he was promised a large sum of money for improving Edison's designs. But when Tesla completed the work, Edison laughed and said, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor." He dismissed Tesla's efforts, undermined his confidence, and made him feel like a fool. Tesla left and struggled for years, all because someone in power undermined him instead of uplifting him. Now the question is, why do people undermine others? There are a few key reasons. They feel threatened by your progress. Your success reminds them of their own failures. They want to keep you in a box. If you grow too much, they fear you'll leave them behind. They thrive on control. Keeping you uncertain makes them feel powerful. The danger of underminers is that they often pretend to care about you. They might be childhood friends, co-workers, even family members. This makes it incredibly difficult to recognize their toxic influence because they mix in just enough kindness to keep you attached. So how do you deal with them? Recognize the patterns. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with someone. If you constantly feel deflated, second-guessing yourself, or guilty for your success, that's a red flag. Confront the behavior. Sometimes calling it out directly will stop them in their tracks. If they say something passive-aggressive, respond with, "What do you mean by that?" Making them explain exposes their manipulation. Create distance. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your mind and emotions. If someone is constantly undermining you, limit your exposure to them. Because here's the truth, the wrong words spoken at the wrong time by the wrong person can derail your destiny. And if you're not careful, an underminer will convince you to shrink your dreams before they even have a chance to grow. On the surface, enablers might seem like the best kind of people to have in your life. They're supportive, easygoing, and always on your side. They never pressure you, never challenge you, never make you uncomfortable. But here's the problem. Growth requires discomfort. And enablers don't challenge you to grow. Instead, they keep you exactly where you are because they prioritize your comfort over your progress. For example, imagine you have a friend who never holds you accountable. You say you want to lose weight, but when you skip the gym, they say it's fine, you deserve a break. You tell them you need to save money, but they encourage you to splurge on unnecessary purchases. They reinforce your bad habits instead of challenging you to improve. It's like a mother who spoils her child, always making excuses for their behavior instead of teaching them discipline. At first, it feels like love, but over time, it cripples the child's ability to handle real-world challenges. A real-life example of this is found in Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Wozniak, a brilliant engineer, was perfectly happy building computers for fun. But Jobs? He challenged Wozniak. He pushed him. He refused to let him stay comfortable. If Jobs had been an enabler instead of an agitator, Apple might never have existed. So, while enablers may seem kind, they can be dangerous in the long run. Why? They allow you to make excuses. They prioritize short-term comfort over long-term success. They don't challenge you to be better. Now, does this mean enablers are bad people? No. Most of them genuinely care about you. They don't want to see you stressed, struggling, or frustrated. But the truth is, struggle is necessary for transformation. Think about how diamonds are formed. They don't come from soft treatment. They come from intense pressure and heat. Without that struggle, they remain ordinary rocks. The same applies to people. If no one is pushing you, you will never reach your highest potential. So ask yourself, do the people in my life challenge me to grow, or do they just make me feel comfortable? Am I surrounding myself with those who push me toward my goals, or those who enable my stagnation? Am I becoming the person I'm meant to be, or just coasting through life because it's easier? Because growth isn't about doing what's easy, it's about doing what's necessary. And the sooner you remove excessive comfort from your life, the sooner you'll rise to the next level. Most people say they want to improve. They want success, financial freedom, personal growth. But here's the truth. Growth is uncomfortable. And very few people willingly seek discomfort. That's where the challengers come in. These are the people who push you, question you, and refuse to let you settle for mediocrity. They demand more from you because they see what you're capable of even when you don't. And the truth, you need them. Take a moment to think about the greatest mentors, leaders, and athletes in history. Did they surround themselves with people who just made them feel good? No, they had coaches, trainers, and mentors who challenged them relentlessly. Look at Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson. Jordan was an incredible athlete, but before Phil Jackson, he had never won an NBA championship. Jackson didn't just praise Jordan, he pushed him. He forced Jordan to play smarter, not just harder. He made him trust his teammates instead of trying to do everything himself. That challenge transformed Jordan from a great player into a legend. This applies to every area of life. If you want to build a business, you need people who challenge your ideas and force you to refine them. If you want a strong relationship, you need a partner who challenges your weaknesses, not just flatters your ego. If you want to be physically stronger, you need a trainer who won't let you quit when it gets hard. But here's where people get it wrong. Challengers don't always feel like good friends. They are often the people who frustrate you, annoy you, and even make you uncomfortable. They don't let you slack off, and they don't tolerate excuses. For example, imagine you have two friends. One always agrees with you, tells you what you want to hear, and never questions your choices. The other challenges your decisions, forces you to think critically, and holds you accountable. Which one actually helps you grow? The answer is obvious, yet most people gravitate toward comfort. They avoid the challengers in their lives because it's easier to surround themselves with people who don't question them. But that's a mistake, because the people who challenge you today are the ones who will make you stronger tomorrow. So how do you find these people? Look for those who are ahead of you. If you're always the smartest or most successful person in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. Seek out mentors, coaches, and friends who have already achieved what you want. Pay attention to the people who give you tough feedback. If someone is willing to tell you what you need to hear instead of what you want to hear, keep them close. Embrace discomfort. If a conversation or challenge makes you uncomfortable, lean into it instead of avoiding it. That discomfort is a sign of growth. Because in the end, success isn't about being comfortable, it's about being better. And the right challengers will make sure you never stop growing. There are very few people in life who will truly stand by you no matter what. These are the lifelong allies, the people who are with you through success, failure, hardship, and triumph. They are rare, but they are priceless. Lifelong allies are different from regular friends. Friends come and go, but these people, they remain. They're the ones who celebrate your victories without jealousy. They don't undermine you, they don't enable your weaknesses, and they don't hold you back. Instead, they support you in the right ways. Think about Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Their partnership in business lasted for decades because they shared the same values, challenged each other's thinking, and pushed each other to be better. Buffett often says that Munger's wisdom played a massive role in his success. That's a lifelong ally. Or take the story of J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. These two literary giants met as young men and spent years sharpening each other's writing, discussing deep ideas, and challenging each other's creative visions. Without Lewis's encouragement, Tolkien may never have finished The Lord of the Rings. So how do you recognize a lifelong ally? They challenge you, but they never abandon you. Unlike underminers, they push you to be better, but they do it out of love, not jealousy. They celebrate your success. There's no resentment, no competition, just genuine happiness for your victories. They stand with you in the hard times. When life gets difficult, they don't disappear. They stay. But here's the truth. Lifelong allies are not found by accident. You don't just stumble upon deep, lasting relationships. They are built over time through trust, loyalty, and shared values. That's why you must invest in the right people. Build relationships with those who uplift, challenge, and support you in the long run. Because at the end of the day, money, success, and achievements mean nothing if you have no one to share them with. And the few lifelong allies you keep, they will be the greatest treasures of your life. The people in your life are either fueling your fire or extinguishing it. The choice is yours. Surround yourself with those who uplift, detach from those who drain, and cherish the ones who cross your path at the right moment. Your future depends on the relationships you nurture and the ones you walk away from. Choose wisely, because in the end, your life is not just shaped by what you do, but by who you do it with.